Good evening. The theme we are discussing today is reimagining Tamil Nadu, but as has been mentioned, we may roam a little more widely towards various issues and so on. So, Kamal, we'll start with your film career. Has already mentioned 60 years, 220 films in several languages: Tamil, Hindi, Telugu, Malayalam, and one without any language.
Pushpak. Good evening, everybody. Thank you.
And you are a highly respected actor, an actor's actor, also with a large following. But one thing I've heard, you know my knowledge of films is rather limited, but one thing I've heard, and it's clear, that's a perception widely shared, is in your film roles, you've done a variety of roles, but you're one of those who did not seek to construct an image directed towards a political future. You took on many roles, and not just those roles which would make you look like a virtuous politician in the making. Does that mean you never entertained the idea of politics while doing all these roles?
Thank you. But I have this dubious distinction of being Mr. Ram's guide to cinema. He knows so many things about so many subjects, but this is one subject where I feel proud and not inferior at all. So starting there, let me tell you, you asked me whether I don't have intentions at all. What was my attitude? Did my films evade politics, and why I didn't create an image? What I abhorred was the cliche. So even if I had aims of going into politics, I was not going to do it the regular way.
Yeah, without naming names, we know people who may have done some roles, but suddenly...
Even my choice of roles have been like that. So I do believe in the oblique attack.
Your film, N.Ram, one of the most significant films made in India, what motivated you to do that thing?
Almost you can say that I stepped into politics with that film. I mean, it is not my business to make a film like that. I was just to make films which will make people happy. I mean, I suddenly wanted to include protein in the diet instead of masala. And I thought it was time. I had this apprehension that we will reach today. I was even worried that we'll reach this day earlier. So that prompted me to make that film at the end of the millennium, 1999, to make a fresh start in my life also. So it's a very strong political film. If you see it now, it makes more sense to people. It made sense to me then, not that I was ahead of time. I was just about in time in making that film. Today, making that film will be difficult.
Yeah, yes, that's precisely the point. Why is India relapsed in that sense? Because that film has a grievous personal loss, somebody who's angry, seeks revenge, wants to assassinate the Mahatma, and then it's turned back and espouses Gandhism. But why is it that after so many lessons have been learned and so many setbacks suffered by India, secular India, democratic India, we are now returning to perhaps the most difficult, challenging phase in, I wouldn't say since independence, because we've had other problems, but in recent decades. Politics of hate, divisiveness, goons breaking into a university with masks. So what?
I think it's like a body and muscle. If you have to keep exercising ethics and social consciousness constantly, otherwise we tend to regress back. Just shutting down electricity in a Big Apple in America brought the worst of behavior in a classy society we all aspire to become. I think it's a constant vigil that we have to keep. That's what I keep saying, that democracy is not infallible. We have to constantly be on the vigil. Otherwise, it is only through democracy a person like Hitler was able to seize power. So we have to keep awake, and we have to keep these dialogues and questions and ask them aloud, and also assess our situation, look around and see what has happened to us, and are we progressing or regressing? These are constant questions we'll have to ask.
Dr. Ambedkar, among others, warned of the strongman syndrome. Beware of strong men, great men, men who are outsized, and so on. Is that a problem? Or simply charismatic leadership?
I think charismatic leadership time is coming to an end. I think we'll have to look for leaders in the people.
We'll come to that for Tamil Nadu a little later. Now, going back to the shaping of your outlook, your worldview, you can say, your father was a remarkable man. Yeah. Tell us a little about it. It's a relatively unknown part of your biography.
He told me that his father realized that he had to buy his son clothes when he was 7 because somebody pointed it out. That man who pointed it out, that it's a big boy now, you must get him clothes, he's running around nude. So that's the kind of, it's not poverty, but it's not also a big family. The man who pointed out that fact later on became my father's father-in-law. Oh. They were friends. So that is the kind of background from which he came, and my father-in-law sort of almost not only took him as a son-in-law, but like a son also. So he educated him. He himself was a lawyer. So put him into the law college. So my father has seen the end of both the spectrums. He's not, but he has moved with all kinds of people. He's so pragmatic, so simple, very humorous. And one quality did not cancel out the other. That you will find humor and passion and pragmatism all in one bundle. That is why his first son was able to talk rational ideas, read books on rationalistic views, and even join the DMK party as an advocate. Yes. While my father was as congressman, and he's not just a follower of Gandhi, but almost a bhakt.
Now, what did he think of your early interest in films? Did he, normally an educated family would have inhibitions.
Very strange. I was a late child. He was almost 50 when I was born. So we used to make a joke that they should have actually named me Oops Haasan because they didn't expect the child at all. So Charu Haasan, Chandra Haasan, and then 24 years later, after Charu Haasan, I was born. So the difference between the first brother and the last brother, 24 years. So I think he used me as a good guinea pig for his ideas, what he couldn't do. He taught me music, he couldn't sing, and then he wanted an artist in the family, and he said so, much to the chagrin of my brothers who didn't subscribe to that kind of thought. But he kept pushing it, and somewhere I think probably few advices I adhered to was this, and it stood me in good.
A very progressive man.
Very progressive man, and it sounds like I'm eating the humble pie. We never knew, or I'm pretending, we never knew the casteism, the differences. It's only the world which taught us, not the home. It's usually the other way around when they discreetly instruct the children about what exists around the world.
Let's turn to our state, Tamil Nadu. Reimagining Tamil Nadu. Show cause why Tamil Nadu needs to be reimagined, because if you look at the indicators, Tamil Nadu ranks pretty high. India Today's annual State of the State survey, 2019, Tamil Nadu emerged as the best performing state, best performing big state, looking at all criteria. If you look at the Niti Aayog's India Innovation Index, the latest released, Tamil Nadu follows Karnataka as the state which is most innovative. There are areas where it's relatively backward. For example, Niti Aayog's School Education Quality Index, Tamil Nadu ranks 8 out of 20, quite low, given its other advantages and so on. And then we have a universal public distribution system. We have fairly efficient governance, it appears. We'll come to the other dimension, perhaps number one or number two in India with respect to corruption. But let's...
when we were given a sort of brief on who was going to come here and what they would like this conversation to be, they said, don't forget to add humor in it. And Mr. Ram said, it seems, don't expect humor from me, but do expect wit. But yeah, I think he has offered the humor part. So I think, what else can we do? It's not even a loud laughter, but it's a sad smirk is what I can give for this kind of a joke. Why it has to be reimagined? First, we have to imagine. We have lost our imagination. And there's nothing to be invented. We just have to discover what we are, the synergy that we can produce, this room can produce. We have lost that imagination. So we have to bring that forth. I mean, this hibernation will have to stop.
When we
I'm not blaming politicians anymore, because we know who we are, who they are, and we now have to realize who we are.
But if this is the state of perhaps one of the most advanced states, what about the rest?
Yeah, that's why this joke is on the country. Yeah. It's a shame on the country if this is the standard. That means we are celebrating mediocrity and even lower. We are trying to raise mediocrity as the highest level. And that's a shame on the country. We produce great men, including those in this room. So it's such an insult to us. We must take umbrage.
What explains the dominance of the Dravidian movement in its various avatars, offshoots, and so on in this state? And why did the so-called national parties, I use the word so-called advisedly, because that's their claim. But what do you think explains this? Because now you're entered politics, you must have done your homework.
I think that the Dravidian movement, you know the history, I mean, most of us know. In Tamil, we say it's Kalathin Kattayam, need of the hour. Yeah. If Mr. Annadurai has not been born, Mr. Periyar was not there still would have been a movement. We don't know when it would have borne fruit, but it was need of the hour. Yes. Because it was not an inclusive politics. It was an exclusive politics. So people were left out and they gathered together and they found a small percentage, like it happens around the world, even in fiscal matters, 2% control the rest. So they wanted to change it. So it was the need of the hour. That's why my brother, born to a congressman, joined DMK. It was the need of the hour. I mean, it doesn't matter. Personalities didn't matter. And I think I spoke once and I speak again in another great forum. I think Murasuli function I spoke. You cannot remove Dravidam from the map. The reason is that the so-called, it's pan-Indian, pan-national, this Dravidianism as we call it. I mean, archaeologists will give me better reason and support as to why I say it. So this is just a brand, a name, an umbrella under which we can sit. It will be there. Who takes it forward and it's not even leading, it's taking it towards the right destination. And that's what it'll be. So when they say, will you also lead tread the Dravidian path? There is no, it's a Dravidian terrain. Path has to be made by us. So that's what I think. You cannot erase it. And my intention is not to change that, but to change this corrupt alternatives that we have. That has to change. We must have, like Edward de Bono says, you cannot live a life with just yes and no. If there is no third alternative, invent it. He wrote a book called Yes, No, and Po. So he invented a word. So I think that's what I am.
It's a remarkably long-lasting hegemony. I remember 1967. After that, the so-called national parties never returned with a ghost of a chance of capturing power in Tamil Nadu. They always became B team, or B League or C League members. Congress perhaps B League, BJP D League, and so on in Tamil Nadu. It's a remarkably long innings for these parties, despite the splits and the various controversies.
Whether deserving is or not is another question. The thing is, I said they were the need of the hour. Then the need of the hour just became need, their need.
Yes.
And that was systemized, and now corruption is, there's a parallel government which runs only for corruption. Governance of corruption.
We'll come to that in a minute, but before that, when I was in school, high school and college, there's a very strong anti-Hindi movement. Unlike you, I can't speak Hindi, more than a couple of words. So what should be our approach to this, what is called linguistic, what shall we call it, linguistic chauvinism or linguistic
See, like,
exclusivism, yeah, whatever.
I never understood what people meant when they said horse sense. My vice president here is an expert on horses, so he'll enjoy this. Horses around the world, if you know one horse, you know any horse in the world. You'll be able to sit on it and communicate with it. We don't have that kind of a general communication. We have somehow declined the great offer which was there in front of us, and we have become chauvinists for language. It's a beautiful badge to wear, but the world will move more and more towards borderless, languageless communion. And I was part of the Hindi agitation. Someone told me that you'll get more holidays if you participate in it. That was the only reason I didn't even understand. But later, as I grew, I understood there was a reason behind it. The promise that we Indians were given when we became independent was slowly being denied by a monoculture, which even now the argument continues. When Anna said, I sort of rephrase my words and retreat, but the reason remains, he said. The reason for the agitation remains, but we take back the agitation.
So would you say that in your wide interactions with people in Tamil Nadu, you've been all over touring and interacting with them at a personal level, do you see any anti-Hindi sentiment, or is it just the resentment against what is seen as an unjust place given to Hindi, whereas not treating other national languages equally?
No,
What do you see?
no, let me start with introspection rather than inspecting them.
Yeah.
I, like you, didn't know Hindi till I was 26, 27. I really didn't know. Yeah. Few North Indian friends used cuss words, so I knew the meaning of them.
Yeah.
That's all was my vocabulary in Hindi. And suddenly when an opportunity came about, I learned Hindi willingly. I think that will be the feeling of any Tamilian. His language, his mother tongue, will be Tamil, and he will seek to learn Chinese, Hindi, Marathi, French, what suits him, or what he takes a fancy to. That's how it should be. It cannot be forced on them.
How long will it take the chap sitting in Delhi to realize this?
From a second to a century.
Now, coming to one of the key subjects, corruption. Now, in Tamil Nadu, it's well understood. In Tamil Nadu, the term scientific corruption was used to describe the system of corruption in Tamil Nadu. It's an extremely systematized system with rules, rates are fixed, incentives are provided for various sectors. There's a distribution mechanism. The lowest, with one strong leader, the lower rungs got a smaller share. Now it's more decentralized, I believe, and so on. And then there are sectors like mining, sand mining, beach sand mining, river sand mining, beach sand mining for minerals, granite quarrying. At every level, this system of what can only be called grand corruption,
Yes.
which is operative, and it is well recognized. There's a literature on it. Even I've written on it, and various others. Now, some scholars point out that side by side with this system of grand corruption in Tamil Nadu, for which Tamil Nadu has evolved a long way, you have a fairly efficient delivery mechanism, system of delivering welfare goods. For example, the public distribution system. For example, the Rural Employment Guarantee Scheme, where everyone takes a cut, but that seems to facilitate wider reach. There's an incentive to enroll more people. This is serious literature findings. So show cause why corruption is bad. If corruption helps people, why is corruption intrinsically bad if it facilitates the delivery of welfare goods and services?
See, the instant gratification of corruption is so inviting.
Yeah.
So it's very difficult to argue on the long-term basis. We think of Rome as a great place, but they say that during the time of Marius, when he was dictator, that the streets of Rome was compacted by garbage dumped by the citizens. People were walking in such stink. Europe used to stink, even after the decline and fall of the Roman Empire. And the perfumes became a necessity only because of that. That's how bad it was. But in the long term, they realized, like instant gratification, there's a sudden realization that comes with the Black Plague. Then it was a great equalizer. But I hope that we will not wait for that Black Plague, either economically or any which way that will hit us. We'll have to, that is what we'll have to imagine now, before it's too late. And that is what I called imagining the worst. Accidents waiting to happen can be averted. And why corruption is so convincing is because it's a quick fix. And the man who puts out his hand for the money for vote actually doesn't know that it's his money that is being recycled. How do you make him understand that? Even if you do, he says, yes, I do understand, but what do I do today? So you'll have to really show him the benefits. So next time when a politician goes to offer him money for votes, he'll put his price up, but they won't be able to afford it, because ultimately they are businessmen. They are not philanthropists, nor socially conscious people. They are here to loot. And if it's not worthwhile, they won't do it. They'll stop.
But there will always be some who will take the what's left over, 1,000 rupees or 2,000 rupees. But why is it that Tamil Nadu specializes in this, along with perhaps Andhra Pradesh and Karnataka? And some of the so-called backward Hindi-speaking states don't seem to face the same kind of problem, certainly not on this scale. Hard one.
No, not at all, because we are very intelligent, but we have diverted it to another. This great faculty has been diverted in the wrong direction. So the right and wrong balance is a check and balance we'll have to continuously keep making. And my mother used to say that when I have an idea which is very wicked or crooked, மூளை எப்படி ஆண்டாள் கொண்டையாட்டம் வளர்ந்துருக்கும்பாங்க. That is a side word. So we have used that great intelligence, collective intelligence, to go towards this easy way. And no pain, no gain. We'll have to grit our teeth and go towards a direction. And we can. We taught them how to wash their hands, clean their clothes, not to litter. This can be done. And they've forgotten it all.
Is that one of your main activities?
Yes.
On the ground?
Before I publicly proclaimed that I'm coming into politics, these things we were attempting. But without seizing power, you cannot instill that as a rule of life. And I'm not talking about dictatorship. I'm just talking about a benevolent politician who should sit there. And that's why when my film fraternity wanted to stop the cricket match, I said, 20 people are playing a game which you don't like. Just walk another mile. 234 players are playing a very bad game inside the fort. Stop them. You're wasting your time on the wrong arena. I said. And that's what we should do. And that's why I am here.
Your political movement, the way you started, was somewhat unconventional. That you didn't call yourself the Supremo, although you are the clearly unmistakable leader of that movement, because you're the one who brought them together. But what made you decide at that point of time, I will jump into this? It is an adventure for you.
No, as I told you, that jump was done even during N.Ram. N.Ram, the film.
Yeah.
Because it's a phenomenal risk to take. But let me tell you that that's one film which got me table profit. I did not do that film for that at all. I said, come what may, I will make this statement, because there will be a time when you cannot make it.
Yes.
Because what is happening to our country has happened before. It's nothing new. It's a facsimile, and a bad smudged facsimile of what happened in Europe. And we all remember it, and we are letting it happen all over again. And we are players in it. Even in the corruption, we are talking, because we are now talking about reimagining. Imagine that we all have a hand in that corruption because of not looking in that direction. In Tamil, I said before when, in an interview, I said, before when you say thief, thief, and run behind one criminal, he runs very fast to get away from the crowd. Today, he stops and said, did you call for me? I hear so many people screaming, what do you want? So that's the arrogance we have given him. He needn't be scared. The punitive measures that we have put in place are not punishments enough.
Yes.
I can shop my way out of it. Literally, go shopping.
There has been a considerable history of people who did very well in films, very talented people, who were very popular, who were admired for some of the roles they played, for the character or whatever, who entered politics. Some succeeded big time, others flopped. Let's not go into names. But what are the ingredients? Have you learnt can you draw any conclusions from this fairly significant body of experience in Tamil Nadu? And also, if you want, Andhra Pradesh, by extension.
There's a lot to learn. I mean, there are 1,001 ways of how not to do it. Yeah. Like what I pursue is a dangerous strategy, and they cannot afford it. My weapon is very sharp. I intend to be very honest. And that is something they cannot, the astra to challenge mine, they don't have. It is nothing new that I'm saying. They asked Gandhiji, what is going to be your political strategy? He said, honesty. I sort of diluted it a little more for my understanding. So that is what our party is all about. When you said you placed yourself, I've placed myself in a position of pride. I am the platform. So stand on me and implement the ideas. So it's not a mean position. It's a great position. And that's how I see myself as. And that's why my party will be led by leaders, not by me.
Now, I know you well enough to say that when you come to a conclusion, you will stay with it, regardless. You will be very stubborn. It'll be hard for you to pull back. But then you must have advisors who will always caution, be cautious, don't go this is the perception, that's the perception. So moderate your views.
All my successful films that I have produced in Raj Kamal were first vetoed by my advisors.
Yes.
But later on, I had to argue. The more I argue and try to convince them, I become convinced. It's not stubbornness. It's a question of strengthening yourself with repetitive action. Your muscle becomes stronger. Your mental strength increases. And that's what I did. There were naysayers. Even to start a party, there were negative things. In the party, there'll be negative. But finally, we all, trying to convince them, also convinces me, which gives me great strength. And my strength sort of permeates and becomes infectious.
In film, so in politics. Yes?
Yes, that's what I'm about. The second simile was about my political party, our political party. And I enjoy it a little more than films, which, to my surprise, even my film fraternity is quite surprised that
yes,
we
and
seem
your
to be happier. We thought we'll be a sad-looking man when you get into politics. You'll have a frown. I have a smile instead. At least inside, I feel a brilliant light inside me.
Could you give us some idea of the kind of caution they advocate in relation to perceptions out there that you are this or that, and how you handle that when you come into the political arena, not films?
Any arena, you must assert yourself, go that route, And if you're proven wrong, be ready to take responsibility and say, you're sorry, but I'll take the right route again. I've seen examples, great examples in Gandhiji, and I've seen examples of not believing in something, but then for the good of the country, help the man do something which is going in the right direction. Ambedkar is a great example.
Yes.
Where he disagreed with Gandhiji, but when it came to writing the constitution and he was given the responsibility, he obeyed like a slave.
Yes.
Literally worked for it day and night. And that's the attitude.
Which brings me to something perhaps close. Your great friend Rajnikant.
Yeah.
And he has other ideas maybe, we don't know quite where, but he's not taken this path. But recently there was a function where there was a lot of fraternity, although no clear political outcome from there. Would you like to take this audience? I don't want to create any news or controversy.
No. Just, please do. See, it's a question of, the reason why I'm here, sir, is to convince you. Likewise, I'll try to convince my friend as well. And I will want him to help Tamil Nadu, because Tamil Nadu has helped him. So I want all of us to invest in Tamil Nadu, whatever means that you have. And he is very proudly a Tamilian now, wherever he is born. And he should invest. That's what I'll try to convince him with. And he is of that mindset. Many times we have agreed to disagree. So it's our style, our choice of films, and my love for cinema is different to the love he has for cinema.
So how did you maintain this good relationship?
It was decided. We agreed on one point that we'll set an example. And I'm quite surprised that these guys who have not even reached 30, both of us, made that decision that we are going to be the next after those two big guys. So we better be deserving of that position. And we made the decision that we will not allow any small squabbles to be. Disagreements we'll do in public and announce those very nicely, gently.
Yeah. That bell reminds me that we have 5 minutes for me in this conversation, and then there'll be some time for questions, maybe 10 minutes or so. Your party program, what are the key issues that you're going to work on? I know women's safety is one.
Yes. See, I'll talk about women because empowering women is one word that confuses me. Women are empowered. They know the strength. To quote from mythology, it is like convincing Hanuman to cross the sea. They don't know. Why they are being like that is something, it's a longer book to write. It could create great literature. We will work, and as I said in our party program, we think from space to the paddy fields, women should get equality, wages to begin with. I don't see why man is paid more than women in there are very few industries where we have somebody here who tries to equalize that. But it should become the order of the day. Mrs. Uma Devi, when I told her this, she said, no, not in my factory. That's Uma Devi. So, we should have more of those people, and it should go into the agrarian field, as well as in space. And they need not ask. They know how to run. All houses are run by women. It's an old joke where the husband says, I run the house and I have my wife's permission to say so. So that's how all households are run. They are empowered, they must understand it, and we don't need to translate it to them. We just have to remind them, because they're too busy making homes, they don't know that they need just a little suggestion to empower them. And we will do that. Unemployment is something we won't crib about, but do something about. Skill set, according to us, is a great solution, one great solution. Because this monoculture of creating lakhs and lakhs of lawyers and engineers and it'll end up being that engineers will be willing to drive cars for you, take the garden shears or the haircutting scissors, because it's paying more, and it's true. And finally, a hairstylist in a metropolitan city like this can easily earn from 50,000 to 1 lakh a month. That's the truth, because out of 7.5 crores, even ladies trim their hair now. That includes those with the male pattern alopecia. they still need a haircut. So that's a great opportunity. This infra-dig about profession should stop, and we will propagate that.
Dignity of labor.
Dignity of labor.
You said earlier.
Yeah, it must be inculcated, and we will do it. And our agrarian society, there's a friend of mine who said, if you find gold and diamonds underneath and over the ground, if it is agriculture going on, do not meddle with that. You can't eat gold and diamonds. So we will take care of agriculture and use new implements. The farmer has to be, once again, like the ladies, he has to be empowered into believing that it could be a lucrative business. It's our duty to make agriculture a lucrative business, which we are not. We turned our face away from it. And education is another part we'll have to take seriously and not take this little pats on the shoulder from the center where we believe that we are good. It's a myth, and we will not go.
So on that note, we'll turn it over for questions from, I believe there were questions that came online.
That's right. So we have 4 or 5 questions that came online, and then we'll also open it out. We did invite a few questions. I'm sorry, many of you did not give your last names, so I'm going to identify you as you did. Abhishek, ADMK Chennai Central Youth Secretary is, I think, in the audience. Abhishek, we'll get a mic to you. Okay, sure.
Hello, sir.
Okay, we'll get a mic that works to you.
Good evening. Yeah.
That side, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, good evening, sir.
Tamillian Kekala.
Kandipa Kekala. Good evening, sir. Good evening, Ram sir, as well. My name is Abhishek Rangasamy. I am a first-generation entrepreneur.
Could you please come here? Because,
Sure.
I'd also like to read lips.
Yes. So I'm a first-generation entrepreneur and a politician as well. I started my political career when I was at the age of 18. That is because there was no politician from my entire family. So I wanted to do that, and my parents supported it as well. Now I'm 30 years old. I'm the current Deputy Secretary for South Chennai Youth Wing, AIDMK. I handle around 600 youth clubs. Okay, apart from that, the vision towards to give back to the society was always in my mind. And you have been always a great inspiration to me, sir. Even during my college days, there were comments thrown on me, you're very Kamal Haasan Reimagining. Because once when I tried to play guitar and drums together, like House had did, you're very Kamal Haasan. Like that, you have always been an inspiration to me. So when I joined politics, you were not there. And now, since you are into politics, what will be your step towards inspiring people like me? When we joined, you were not there. But now there's an opportunity. But I'm very much happy and most proud to be in my party. There has been very good reforms which have been discussed to us by our seniors.
Shall we stay with the question so that there's time?
So the question is very simple. What is your step towards inspiring young politicians like me who are waiting for a very good opportunity to give back to the society?
To inspire someone like you, let's say, let's start with person to person change. வேலு நாயக்கர் மாதிரி நல்லவனா கெட்டவனான்னு கேட்டா தெரியலையாப்பான்னு நீங்க பதில் சொல்லிட்டு இருக்க முடியாது. You will have to decide. You have to do it from the right side. I don't mean the political right. From the right side.
On the contrary? On the contrary.
No, I'm openly saying that you should come to us.
Sure, sir.
That is, there is no hide and seek, sir. I don't want the power of youth to be frittered away. Unite, come to one direction.
You can do it right away if you want.
No, we wouldn't like to embarrass you. Go back. The same parents who advised you that it's good to go into service of the people will again give you the right advice. But you should decide what is right and wrong and not say like, Velu Nayakar, nallavana kettavalana theriyaleyappa nu sollakudadu. You must know. And it's very simple, sir. The answer is very simple.
If there's been one or two reforms, what do you want to do, sir? Immediately, right away, when you are being chosen as a leader, the immediate reform, what do you want to do to the society or youngsters?
I will lead by example. That's the first reform. That the other person in my party should feel that I cannot do this because this man is not doing it. And it will have to permeate. It sounds like utopia. It is not. You see my film sets as compared to other film sets. Mine will have a little more discipline. No, not a little more, a lot more discipline than other sets. You won't hear the cacophony of human voices. There'll be a lot of silence and only pertinent people will raise their voice. That can be done. And I need everybody's help to do it. They ask me, you're not a politician, how will you do it? That's the very reason why I will win.
Next, please, next.
Mr. Balachandran from the IAS, I think. We'll get a mic to you.
Yeah, it works also.
Okay. Yeah.
Thank you.
Good evening, N.Ram.
Good evening.
I am impressed with what you
Do speak
We can't
into
hear
the
you.
mic.
We
yeah.
can't hear you.
Is it okay?
That way.
Speak into the, hold it, yeah.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah.
Mr. Haasan, I am impressed with what you said that you will be an honest politician. It's very important. I was born in Tamil Nadu. I am a Tamil. I was president of Delhi Tamil Sangam. I am lifetime honorary president of Calcutta Tamil Mandram, despite the fact that for 35 years I lived outside Tamil Nadu. The society has given a lot to me.
The Makkal
and I
Needhi
should,
flow.
the society has given a lot to me and I should give back to the society. Now, when you say that you want honesty to be an uncompromising principle, in real life, if you were to become CM of Tamil Nadu, certainly that chair is not what Shankar and Arjun showed. It's much more complex. It's not sufficient to have an idea, though the idea is from where everything should start. Like one of the Tamil poets said, இந்த நாட்டில் தண்ணீர் பள்ளங்களை ஏமாற்றி விட்டு மேடுகளை நோக்கியே பாய்ந்து கொண்டிருக்கின்றது. It's a fact. When you decide to be honest, do you have an action plan how to ensure that honesty in the system? Because that's much more important.
Okay.
Brutally. Honesty sometimes has to be brutal, but I don't mean blood and gore or punitive measures. Simply tell them that you have to be honest or clear the field for others who are honest. And if you ask me whether it's possible, I've tried it in my film. I'm the only actor, probably barring a few others, maybe in India, I don't know, who pays his taxes. I don't touch black money. They said, you're a fool. You can never, ever succeed. In this business, I am still there, standing. And this is one such example. There are many in my field which may be too technical for you, this crowd to understand, but it is possible, sir. And people like you will have to give me advised on how to systemize it. When they can make systemize corruption, we can systemize honesty as well.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Latha, President of the IIT Alumni Association. Latha, can we get a mic to you, please? Yeah. Hello. Yeah, it's working.
Yeah, good evening. I'm Latha Venkat, the Executive Director of the IIT Madras Alumni Association. Good evening. It's very interesting that you started, when we spoke about reimagining the state, to talk about women and youth. So we spoke about empowering them. So what is the ecosystem that we are really looking, and what is the support for women and youth to join your party so that we feel more empowered?
Welcome.
Thank you.
That's the first support that we can tell you. Please do come. And you need to populate Makkal Needhi Maiam with your kind. So please, that is the first request from our side. And ideas, I've not come here with the full answers. We are still work in progress. You can add to it. So invest in Tamil Nadu. Reimagining is also reinvesting into Tamil Nadu. So invest into Tamil Nadu. And let me tell you, these set of politicians are not going to be wanting to be partners in your business. They want you to be partners in the glory and wealth of Tamil Nadu. It's the other way around, where we are not going to ask for a cut in your business to make it flourish. We want you to do business, that's all, and we'll facilitate it, and Tamil Nadu will become rich. And that's our plan. And the same kind of plan can be implemented with women and their empowerment. You come in here, you give us ideas, disagree with us and agree with us, and we will formulate, and what is now just a nebulous thought will become a solid action, and we can go forward with that. So we have women in the party, but that's not enough. So we want to populate the party with more women. I'm used to, I was born and brought up in a house full of women, and I'm used to seeing women holding the key, literally. So I'm quite comfortable with that idea. So you won't find a chauvinist in me. And most of the members in our party. Those who are not, we are converting them very fast.
Mr. Sharfuddin, Director of Grimson Industries. Okay.
Check.
Thank you.
Hi. I'm Sharfuddin Sheikh, Director of Crimson Organics, Kadalur. 35 years of oil and gas experience all over the world. This is from me. Hi, Kamal. You're a talented artist, you're a beautiful artist, and a varied experience and expressions. I've always admired you in my life, possibly from my youngerhood. Now I see you entered in politics. Having handled so many very good things in your field so far, I think possibly I'll assure you are the most talented person. As a mentor for me, Mr. Arvind Kejriwal, who is the best chief minister, as I feel, maybe others are different. I'll like to have you as the next chief minister like Arvind. Now, putting myself in a small piece of mind, and so many entrepreneurs are around me, I'd like to ask you a small question. What do you think your vision for small, medium or large entrepreneurs and industrialists to support you?
See, as I told you, my strategy is something others don't have. You will have to support me because I'm going to be honest, which means more profit for you, sir. I'm not going to ask 30% from for you to start a business. The going rate won't be our rate. We will not go that direction. So it's a fantastic idea to have a party like this facilitating your business. You will be twice as rich with your business, and so also Tamil Nadu. That is the only, I'm not enticing you with it, I'm promising you that.
No, yeah, that's offline. Yeah.
Our next question did not come on the internet, but I do know Suhasini Maniratnam is here and she has a question. Suhasini.
Oh, is she here?
Both of you know my face, but I'll still like to show it. Hello, N.Ram, and hello, Kamal.
Hello.
It was really nice to hear from Kamal about my grandfather and my great-grandfather. And everything he said is true. We never knew about caste till we went out and somebody pointed out our caste. So thank you to our family. My question to Kamal is, we're all very proud Tamils. I mean, reading the report, India Today. But today was a very sad day. I don't know how many of you went out and looked at the ration shops. There were long queues to collect the 1,000 rupees, and I'm truly ashamed. It is not just the poor people who were there, but people who are well off were all going. Maybe it's your right to go and take the money. But how are you going to bring in honesty with the 7 crore of people? At least 6 crore of them are like that, ready to take money. Because we run an NGO and there are 350 women. All that we try is tell them not to take money for votes, not to take money for any favors. But I don't think we are succeeding. It's very, very difficult to take it out of their system because they say in the next street they've given 3,000 rupees. For us, they gave only 2,000 rupees. So how are you going to change the mindset of 6 crore people who are ready to take money?
I don't know. How do you convince anybody not to be a criminal? Because the outcome is not going to be great afterwards. The Solidam, you can say, the moral of a woman, ethics of a man, all that you cannot convince because instant gratification, you cannot argue with it. We will go with it. But then you'll have to convince them that they are being offered peanuts. There is more to come, and we can offer you that. You'll have to counter the offer with a better offer they deserve. To make them understand it, you will have to be the mouthpiece. We all have to do that. Because you start with your household, convince them, that's the best way to do it. The labor should be paid. If you increase that, the corruption will decrease in his area. You'll have to pay him well. If we try to, there's a song I've written in a Tamil film. You just give that keera. But you're not worried about the petrol, that cost that they've levied on your head, where the millions, crores are gone down into somebody else's till, which is duly my money. I will run 3 Tamil Nadus. That is what you'll have to convince the people with. You're siphoning off money which is theirs and then making them look like queuing up like beggars. Now, the opposition party created a ruckus. Kamal Haasan மக்களை பிச்சைக்காரர்கள் என்று சொல்லிவிட்டார்கள். என் வீட்டில் இருக்கிறவங்க செஞ்சால் கையை தட்டி விடுவேன் நான். என் பிள்ளைகள் போய் கையை நீட்டி யார்ட்டையாவது கேட்டாங்கன்னா கேட்காத உனக்கு என்ன வேணும் நான் கொடுக்குறேன்னு சொல்லுவேன். அதே கோபத்தில் தான் நான் அதை சொல்கிறேன். We will not allow our people to go that direction. We'll have to convince them, bring them home.
Let me ask both of you one question. If you had a powerful film focused sharply on anti-corruption theme, exposing ministers, officials, policemen, and so on, how will you fare with the board of censors?
Again, now, they used to be board of censors, then they became the certification board. Yeah. I think slowly they are reasserting their censorship rights. And we changed it through the fraternity to make them just a certification board.
Yes.
You have no right to tell us what to tell my people. Don't treat them like children. And you just certify it. They agreed, but now they're coming back to the censor portion. It is a vicarious, oblique attack on us.
Thank you.
We had this tax-free issue, which is sorted out because of GST. The tax-free that the government, the previous two governments were giving for the film, which was creating a huge problem, that was sorted out by GST. Censor is an issue. I would like to add that N.Ram cannot be made today.
That's
Yeah,
exactly.
and
I made
Roja
it in a
and
hurry
Bombay
because I
also.
forecasted this day.
Iruvar or Roja or Bombay cannot be made today. It will not pass the census. It's a sad state.
Thank you.
We have one final question. Arjun Shetty, CEO of Bank Bazaar. Okay, you're here, Arjun. Great.
Hello, sir. Enormously proud of all the great work you've done in Tamil cinema. You know, in your movies, you've made us laugh, you've made us cry, you've made us enormously passionate. Now, when I hear your agenda of women's empowerment, agricultural, skill development, it is very, very appealing, I think, to the educated, right? But it feels like to win in elections in Tamil Nadu, you need to appeal to the passions. You need to have the same type of slogans that the right uses to energize the masses, right? When I hear you speak, you're enormously erudite, but you don't energize the passions when you speak here the way you do in your movies. Do you feel like your communication strategy when you appeal to the masses is going to be different? Like, what does it take to win an election in Tamil Nadu? Because it feels like everyone who wins, they appeal to someone's passions deeply.
When my movie wins, it's because of the communication. So the same techniques will be used here. The conversation and my pitching in this audience will be totally different as compared to what I will do in the rural Madurai area. You have not heard it because we don't get the best of exposure in the media as we should have. We can't all start a channel of our own. But then you, sir, could be that ambassador to understand, just at least tune in on certain areas, because you cannot totally black us out, because the digital media gives us a platform. That is why I went to Big Boss. I don't know whether you watch it, but that is a subcutaneous communication with my voters. And there'll be many more. And the slogans, like I told you, you don't expect the cliches from me. The approach won't be cliche. It'll be different, but it'll do the job. We are working on it, and there's no holding back or there's nothing infradig in reaching out and embracing my people. There's nothing less about it. It's more. So I will, if you have a suggestion, if you think, if it's a, don't stop with criticism. Give us a suggestion, and we'll take it, because we want to go forward, and we want to win this. So we'll do it the right way, not compromise anything, but try to compress all good ideas into one box, and then bring it out of the box, literally.